Hello. Today, I'll be doing a request. I'm going to start with part 1 of my record collection. Today we'll be starting with 78 RPM records, also known as Shellac records. The majority of my Shellac records were either bought at a cheap price or given to me, and we'll start off with this stack here. I have a separate stack I'll get to that I've covered up that I eventually need to buy some liners for. So the first record we have here is a Decca record. It's a Chopin Impromptu in A flat on that side, and on this side we have a Mazurka and a Waltz. It's the Waltz Brilliant in F major, and it's Nicholas Orloff on the piano. This is a great record. In fact, I had filmed this back in 2017. This is one of the first 78s I got. This was part of my collection I got from Dyer Library when I was volunteering back in high school in 2003. The director at the time, Don Charlin, said, "I need you to help me with something," and it was taking records that were from the collection basically into the dumpster. And I said, "Hey, listen, I have a record player at home. If I can take some of these home, it'd be great." And he said, "Sure, you have one day to do that. Whatever you take it, the rest is going in the dump." So I made about 10 trips on my bicycle back then. I was only 15, and filled up my backpack. And about 10 trips later, I had a bunch of records. So there was 3 or 4 78s as a part of that. It was mostly 33s, and you'll see that when I get to my 33 collection. But some of these were from that Dyer Library collection, including this one. And this one as well. This is Paderewski, Ignacy Jan Paderewski, and this is the Polonaise Militaire. And this is a very old Victrola. As you can see, it only has one side. I'll see if I can find the year they stopped doing that. It was sometime, I think, in the late 20s or the 30s, but it only has one side. Next we have, this one I actually did buy on eBay just because I did want it. Misha Elman playing Bach's Air on the G string on violin. And this is probably my favorite interpretation of that piece. And I'm learning that on the guitar right now and actually kind of taking my cue from Misha Elman. Next, Columbia record, but it's in a choral record. This is just a common pop record. Love, Mystery, and Adventure, Joe Stafford with Paul Weston and his orchestra. And the other side is Shrimp Boats. This was just another one of those ones that was in the pile. Doesn't want to go back. I'll fix it later afterwards. Don't want to waste your time. This one is one I also got on eBay. It was part of a bulk thing of 3 or 4 for something like $20, and it's Caprice Viennois, Fritz Kreisler, and on the piano is George Falkenstein. Yeah, it's a little bit worn. Obviously what happened here is someone left the record on, and then the needle back then spun and spun and spun until it started scratching the label. This is also a one-sided record. Should probably go in there because that doesn't have a case. This is a hefty one, a fairly heavy one. This was part of the Dyer Library Hall. This is Invitation to the Waltz. It's played by Benno Moisevich. It's a von Weber song, piano solo. This is a really great piece for piano, and this is a very clear record. This one was from the late 40s. I looked up the information at one point. So this is not newer, but as far as 78s go, a fairly new 78. It's not as old as, say, the last one I showed you. Next we have just a Jan Kublik. He was also a very famous violinist. Pierre's Serenade, and it was Alberto Rendegger Jr. song, and that's not one you hear very often for a composer or a song. This was just part of that haul for $20 from eBay, but it's a great piece actually. I really like it. It's a really great Czech sounding piece, because if you didn't know, Jan Kublik was from Czechoslovakia, and actually if you're familiar with the conductor, Raphael Kublik, that was Jan Kublik's son, so that was the father of Raphael Kublik. Next we have something I did order and paid full price for, but this is another one that there's only 2 or 3 records I've really wanted, and there's only one left I haven't gotten. That's La Donna e Mobile by Caruso. Someday. That's an expensive one, but I got a Humoresque by Fritz Kreisler, which is a fairly common record. It sold very well, but it still has some value to it. And this is also a one-sided record. This one, I think, was the original issue 74180, and that's why I bought it. But it still sounds great, really. And again, I'll take care of this after. Now in here, we've got my favorite record. This is the one that, I don't know, they packed it in this country gold for some reason. This is also a one-sider, but this is arguably the best Caruso record, or one of Caruso's best, and it's O Paradiso from L'Africana by Meyerbeer, and it was 88054 for a Victrola number. And I think I'm going to use this one for my How to Clean a 78, just because the dynamics on this are remarkable. Like, Caruso's own voice is the only thing that's making it go louder and softer. It's nothing engineered like we do nowadays. So I think this will be the choice for that. It still sounds pretty good having not cleaned it, but that's going to be the one that I'm going to use for that forthcoming video. Okay, now we're on to a pile here of 78s that have no liner. Eventually I'd like to get a liner for them. And to tell you the truth, I hadn't even looked at them really since last year, because they were from a basement sale. They were at the Dyer Library book sale. And basically the guy that was selling them, I told him, I'll give you $1 a piece. No one else in this town's going to buy these 78s. And he looked like the cat that ate the canary, man. Let me tell you, he looked pretty happy. I think he thought he wasn't even going to get $1 a piece, right? And here I was offering $1. But most of these records, they're worth far more than $1 if I were to sell them, which I'm not planning on it yet. Maybe some of them, I have to give them a listen, but I'll just take them out of my handy little $5 Michaels box, because I do need to get some covers. So this is oddly enough, a duplicate Polonaise Militaire. I had that from Dyer. But this is a double-sided record. It's also paired with the Waltz in C sharp minor. Then we've got Wagner Lohengrin, Act 1 Prelude. And this is an Arturo Toscanini and the Embassy Symphony Orchestra. And then that's just the same thing on the side too. Then we've got, side throw, okay, so it's continuing on. Some more opera. So we've got Lancavallo, Pagliacci, Si Può, and it's Leonard Warren, baritone. And on this side we've got Verdi, Aida, Ritorna Vincitor. So like, Return Victorious. And it's Zinka Milanov as the soprano. Frieder Weissmann is the conductor. Actually, I've never heard that name. Some of these I didn't research, I just kind of put them in there to air out, and they seem to have. They still smell like the dryer sheet I put in there a year later. This one we've got Franz Liszt, Hungarian Rhapsody, and number 9 at E flat, Carnival at Pest, Boston Pops Orchestra, Arthur Fiedler. He's a name that you would recognize from the Boston Pops. Then the same thing here, Hungarian Rhapsody. Just continued. And again, apparently Hungarian Rhapsody on this side, and on this side. There wasn't much room on these 78s. Next we have Oh, Symphony Number 8 in B minor, unfinished. Schubert, Boston Symphony Orchestra. Sergei Kusevitsky. Same thing on that side. Sergei Kusevitsky. Same thing here. Oh, this is the Schubert Symphony Number 8. Also Sergei Kusevitsky. Same thing. And the same thing. I think this is just going to be a run of... Oh no, we got something different. And lastly, looks like we've got Wagner, again from Lohengrin, the Bridal Chorus. That's the famous one we all know, you know, Here Comes the Bride. That one. And, oh, okay, we've got on this side Verdi, Il Trovatore, the Anvil Chorus, okay. That's the one, yeah. Chi del gitano, il giorni a bella. That's that one. Everybody knows that one. Alright, so that was it. There is one that's apparently missing. I've got to track down now. It's a Vocalion, and it has Rocked in the Cradle of the Deep on one side, and then Nancy Lee on the other, and it's an orange vinyl. But that's the only one that's missing. I don't know, I must have stashed it somewhere at some point. In any case, that was my 78 collection. Next I'll probably do 45s. I don't have nearly as many as 78s. I do have several. Then I'll do at some point 33s, and that might have to be a 2 or 3 part thing as well, just because of the quantity that I have. And it's all interesting stuff though. So I think when I do How to Clean a 78, I'm going to try O Paradiso, just because it's a remarkable record. And yeah, so thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the 78 record haul. If you have any questions, comment down below. Have a good day. Bye.